show that's feeling pretty good. All things considered.
2/3 of us.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
feeling
if
all right.
credibility doesn't matter, then I suppose you feel fine.
You know what? The facts were there.
No, they
The
weren't.
Patriots don't want to
fact was they
execute the
got
game
stomped.
plan that I laid out for them.
A critical
That's Van
part of your
Pelt's
game
problem.
plan
They tried.
was there was no gap between the two quarterbacks. You said that on the show.
Well, one guy had completed
He had a full rack.
30 passes. The other guy had completed 31.
Yeah,
One guy was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
One guy's
You
a
have bad
backup
nights.
career
You don't have bad
backup.
nights?
The
I guess that's right off the Cowboys. He just got smoked by the Saints in any event. We're starting with a little bit of a change on a Friday, which is always fun. Heartwarming story of a family reunited. The Anguino family is whole again after their beloved cat Rainbow, found 800 miles away from Yellowstone National Park, where she ran away months ago during a family trip. She was found in Roseville, California. Thanks to her microchip, the family's together once again. Great story and a friendly reminder to get your pets microchipped.
What in the world was that?
It's the big news of last night. I saw it on the news, and I think rather than start with like a big downer, start with a friendly story
Well, I
of a family reunited.
is this where I was supposed to jump in?
No, you can talk about having your. I hope you're.
So I would. So this is Brew. This is what we've talked about. Wilds has taken we have allowed him to call himself the leader of the show because
an
it
interesting
satiates his ego. But now it has started to, on topics where he's supposed to be a neutral arbiter presenting them before he gives his opinion, he fits his opinion. And a day like today, when he's covered in shame
It's a tough one.
and
Okay.
and embarrassment.
In other news, let's just go. So we don't need to do all that. You want to talk? Jets manhandle the Patriots behind a vintage Aaron Rodgers performance. Are you happy now? Talking sports. 27 for 35, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oh my God.
I loved it. What's wrong with
This was
what did he
Brew,
say?
we were 19 yards away from this being the
That's
can
your
have
only,
one or the other.
That's your only saving grace. Wow.
And I mean, he had it.
He could've gotten it easy.
His worst throw of the night.
Exactly.
His worst throw. No, his worst throw
It
of the
was
night.
a bad
But go
throw.
ahead, say what you wanted
If
to
he
say.
had got
here.
that, would have been.
He was mediocre the first 2 weeks, and then you go up against a.
Mediocre?
No, the
Yeah,
first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks.
Yes, he was mediocre. I
171
agree with that.
mediocre.
Yeah. But last night he was great. Let's not argue about
Last
the first
night he
2
was
weeks.
awesome.
Yeah.
Last night he was moving around. He was throwing the ball.
Yeah.
He was staring at the camera. He looked like classic Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
So how dangerous are the Jets with this version
Well,
of Aaron Rodgers?
I want to be fair because it wasn't just the numbers. It was also the eye test. He was out of the pocket.
Yeah.
He was moving around. And as I said after week 1, he's always going to throw a pretty ball, and he's always going to be super accurate.
Yep.
The question is, can he do the other things requisite to play football when there's a defense on the field? And last night he could. Now, everything that I saw yesterday is not clouded, but colored by the fact that I don't think the Patriots are good at anything. At anything. I think they have one great defensive player, Christian Gonzalez. I think that they are going to end the year an average defensive team and a wretched offensive team. I thought that before the year. I, unlike some other people, was not mystified by week 1. I thought it was a fluky performance. And I think that this was the Jets' easiest game on their schedule, a game they absolutely had to win, and they did. So that part I don't give them extra credit for. I do give them extra credit for 2 specific things. One is, Brew, what we just talked about, how good Rodgers looked in the aggregate and on a play-to-play basis. And the other one was, if you guys remember, all offseason I criticized the Jets fairly for a lot of things. There was one thing I said that was an adult decision, and that was resisting the urge at drafting 10. They ended up drafting 11. Taking Brock Bowers, who, by the way, has been awesome for the Raiders and is always advertised. They needed a tight end, another weapon, and instead drafting a tackle who you knew wouldn't even start if all things went well in Olu Fashanu. And what did we see last night? Of their 2 tackles, the one that's the sturdiest gets rolled up on because that happens, and you have a guy that you can plug in. Last night it wouldn't have mattered either way because it was late enough in the game, but it could matter moving forward. So I give them real credit Because had they not done that, yesterday could have been a Pyrrhic victory. Like, okay, we get the win, but now our offensive line is in shambles. It's not. I still don't think they're a great team because I don't think Rodgers can play like that on a week-to-week basis.
Well, that's the question, because obviously he was fantastic. That was vintage Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Quick release, mobile, throwing it well when he was running, hitting guys in stride so they could run after the catch. Guys were great running after the catch last night. I mean, it was beautiful. But you're right. Like, if you look back at his last year in Green Bay, he had a couple of really nice games. I think, didn't they beat Dallas late? Like, he had a really...
That was the... Yes.
Yeah, he had a few really nice kind of vintage Aaron Rodgers games, but you're right, he couldn't do it consistently. So that is the question for the Jets.
That Dallas game was the last time he went over 100 passer rating before last night.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So he's got to do it consistently. Unlike you, Nick, I did have respect, and you were right, it was a blowout. I didn't think it'd be a blowout. I thought the Jets would win. But I have respect, and I still do, for that defense. So I thought it was more impressive. They had given up, 130 yards rushing.
I know, but Bentley was the defense did not look like.
Yeah, but I think you got to give the Jets some credit for that they did. And then the Jets, now I know New England's offense, even in the wins, we knew it wasn't good. But the Jets got 7 sacks. They did some better things defensively, so they're improving. For me, this is, and I'm not even trying to be, this is what I thought they were. I still feel like, yes, with this type of Aaron Rodgers, or even a little bit less, they win the AFC East, get to the playoffs, and are a dangerous team. You guys know the issue I have with Rodgers. I don't care how great he looks, 16-1, and he's the MVP. I still will wonder, if they were to get to the AFC Championship game, how's he going to play? Because he's had 5 championship games and been bad in every one. Even the one he won, he wasn't very good. So I would question that. But, yeah, this is a playoff team. I think they win the division, and there'll be something to deal with in the postseason.
I had 3 things. The mobility, which you touched on, he ran 3 times for 18 yards. Just in comparison, Ramondre had 24 yards and Aaron Rodgers is 18. And he was getting tackled. He got tackled out of bounds. He was really getting hit.
And he was throwing on the move.
Yeah.
The mobility, I wasn't even talking about his actual scrambles. It was the extending plays.
Yep.
He also took a cheap shot from Uche at the end, by the sideline. It was a totally cheap shot. He got up. He took it. He felt okay. And then, and this was mentioned on the broadcast, and again, it's very fuzzy, but I'm the king of vibes. He's locked in. He looks a little Brady-esque, where like, I'm here, I see everything, I have it all down. I'm not going to give this game away. There's nothing you guys can do to trick me. Well, that extra level of Aaron Rodgers that the Jets signed up for was there.
So this is where I think now people are going, this is overreaction.
Eye test.
So this is how great teams are supposed to look really good against average teams. Good teams are supposed to look really good against awful teams. I think this is a good team playing an awful team. You said you're king of vibes. I know we're going to get to the other vibe piece of this, the Ian Saleh interaction. This didn't give me faith that this team will handle adversity well. It didn't mean they won't. I phrased that awkwardly. I still have concerns about how this team will handle adversity. I still have real concerns about when they are playing a team in their weight class from a talent perspective, how they will match up at all, and how the coaching schematics will help or hurt their team versus others. The thing that cannot be taken away is we now know definitively, post-Achilles, this is still in him.
Yes.
There was we don't know how consistently he could do it, but prior to last night, no one knew he actually still could do it. Right. That this version of Aaron still could be activated at certain times, which does make them on an any given Sunday type of basis dangerous.
Well, look, and they should be 4-1, or Minnesota will be,
they should
Minnesota's
be 3-1.
They should at least be 3-1, 3-2, or 4-1.
Yes.
When they start hitting the tougher part of the schedule. But yeah, and Rodgers has gotten better every week. So maybe I'm not saying he's going to throw for more yards necessarily, but mobility, he's probably going to get more and more comfortable over the next few weeks.
And let me just say one other name. Will McDonald, they took in the first round a year ago. He did nothing all of last year. They seemed concerned about who he was going to be. One of the reasons they brought in Reddick now also because they lost Brees to the Eagles. And Jermaine Johnson went out last week with an Achilles. Reddick's not there. Will McDonald has 5.5 sacks his last 2 games after doing nothing as a rookie. So that was a top 15. It's massive, and it's a guy that I think a lot of us were like, oh, did they miss on that pick? Maybe just a quiet rookie year. If he's an impactful player, that they have to have an impactful player off the edge. If he's that also helps them a lot.
Curious moment post-touchdown between Rodgers and Saleh. One part hug, one part playful push, one part friendly, one part awkward. Something or nothing?
I think it's something because it's another instance where I find myself feeling badly for Robert Saleh because of something Aaron Rodgers does. Like that was the 2-score lead thing. I guess
you saw he was saying you could read his lips. He was saying that. He did say 2-score lead. Like you.
Okay.
I felt like it was simple to read.
Really? So in the moment. I thought he was saying too early.
I don't know.
I thought he was saying too early. And in the moment, I thought it was like, let's not relax, buddy. It's early in the game. Whatever it is, it's odd. And I understand the team I root for, our star tight end, you know what I mean, had a much worse interaction in the Super Bowl with the head coach. But that relationship feels fused by blood. Like that to me is, it always feels a little tenuous with these guys. And so I don't think it's everything, but I think nothing would be silly because this is another thing that goes, and I'm not trying to make too much of it, in the box of, well, that's a thing unique to Aaron and the Jets. Like that, I don't think we'll see anything similar to that in a celebratory moment from a quarterback and a coach this weekend. I think it'll be, and so it's a little something.
Look, and probably like most people, when it happened and then you saw replays before the game was over, it seemed like something huge. Like I was like that would have, I was like, this is going to be the only negative for the Jets all night. Like it really looked bad. Seeing their comments post-game, I really think it's nothing.
So you just buy it 100%?
Yeah, I thought Rodgers' words make sense. Like I said, I thought I could read his lips saying two touchdown lead, 2-score lead. And then his body language, too. Like, it seemed like he just laughed it off. And Saleh, now what we couldn't see was Saleh's face when Rodgers was saying that to him. Was Saleh kind of smiling, too? Or was he looking terrified? You don't know, because I'm thinking through the game, man, like you said, poor Saleh. Right there, we don't know. Saleh might have been smiling. He didn't seem bothered by it. I actually do buy this, Nick. I really think
that last look, man, is just, and again, what, Wilds?
And then when he says that Saleh does that.
No, that I buy, but push, again, I feel bad because I can't prove it. But that look at the end.
100% something.
Okay, thank you.
100% something.
All right, go ahead.
Because there's lots of explanation. Oh, it's actually, we had a meeting about 2-score leads. We ran the analytics, and the amount of time. No. First of all,
you think that's BS?
First of all, we couldn't score. So that's the best way. We got one field. You don't need 2-score lead.
No, but I think they're saying in general, for their defense, they want to get them a nice 2-score lead so they can play with the lead.
We weren't.
Every week they probably want that. No, but they want that every week.
To win the game. I'm just saying I don't buy it, and it was,
wow.
I trust your gut. It's like, that was something.
No, but it looked, but we can't, I really think, and I'm not just saying this because I picked the Jets to win the division. I really think it's nothing. Because players and coaches have interactions, not just Reed and Kelsey, in general.
No, I agree with you on that.
That look bad. You know what I mean? That to us look, oh my God.
I'm not saying it was bad.
What is
I'm not
going
saying
on?
it's bad. It's not bad. But it's not nothing.
Okay.
Well, is it good?
It's just something. That's why it's something or nothing. It just has to rise above nothing.
That just look at the end is what made me feel like there was something more to it. That like almost look of dismissal. And again, I can't prove it, and Brew makes a fair point, but it's
not a trial. You don't need, it's just something is just 2%. Like, that's something. That's it. Finally. Chiefs 3-point favorites against the Falcons on Sunday night, waiting for this offense to get back to vintage Mahomes. It's good Mahomes, not necessarily MVP Mahomes. Chiefs in the regular season since Mahomes was a starter. Recently, a little downward trend. The wins by 15 points is really interesting, 20-1. So are you willing to guarantee a victory on Sunday night?
That's guaranteeing just a victory?
Oh, I'm sorry, a blowout. I had victory. It's hard to change it on.
This is important for to me in the NFL. A double-digit win is a blowout. 10+ points is a blowout.
Oh, 10 plus.
Well, that's double digits.
I was thinking 2 touchdowns. Really, I would say a 2 touchdown.
Okay.
Like so 14
well,
points
so
or 12
I'm guaranteeing a double-digit win. I'm so excited for this game because I know everyone right now. If I'm like, think of the song that was on the radio the first time you drove a car. It takes you back to a memory, even if you can't. You know what I mean? Think of we are going back for the first time to the scene of the first moment in my life I knew, oh my God, my team not only has a quarterback, might have the quarterback.
Okay.
And it was this play, which is to this day the furthest a ball has ever traveled in the air in an NFL stadium by an NFL quarterback, according to Next Gen. It was the preseason of the 2018 year. And this was, Brew and I knew each other, but barely. You and I didn't know each other except for that time you kicked me out of your office years ago. And I remember doing first things first at 6:30 in the morning and demanding we put this in the show because I had dealt with a lifetime of dinking and dunking and non-excitement at the position. I was like, this kid might be special. And a few weeks later, he was on his way to winning league MVP. He has never played in this stadium again since then. That might have been the last throw he ever had there because it was the preseason. I'm not sure about that. And then there's also this piece of it, Brew. Mahomes in his career, after bad games, lights the other team on fire statistically. Yeah. After multi-interception games, the team's 12-3, but he averages 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, and a 111 rating. And here's the other reason I'm so confident about this game. The Chiefs have played 6 consecutive opponents whose season was either literally or figuratively on the line. 4 playoff games, peak motivation for their opponents. The Ravens in the revenge spot, the Bengals at 0-2. Now they get an opponent, it's the opposite. They feel like they just saved their season. They feel like, this was a game we were supposed to lose anyway. So for all those reasons, this is 31-20 Chiefs. Wow. And so, 30 points and a double-digit victory.
See, I see a blowout as 2 touchdowns. Okay. And I don't think you showed the graphic, Wilds. This is nothing against the Chiefs' greatness. They don't really blow teams out anymore. I mean, occasionally, like they blew out Chicago early last year.
That's it.
Had 2 more 2 touchdown wins. Yeah. 2 more. And so I think they definitely win the game. I would bet not a blow. Like they'll win anywhere from 3 to 10 points. So that's what I think they'll do. I just don't think they, Pacheco, I think that's a big loss.
I think that's a big loss in general. I think it actually makes it more likely they blow a team out.
Well, because they're going to throw more.
Right, because they're going to have to lean into the throw.
I was loving Xavier Worthy after week 1. Didn't do much last week. Let's see what he does. Obviously, Kelsey hasn't gotten going. So I think the only one I really fully believe will definitely have a great game of the Rasheed. Rasheed is great after the catch. He's like the leading receiver.
And just caught his first bomb of his career, really. It had all been yards after catch stuff.
Long stuff, short stuff. Yeah.